All right, everyone. So what we're going to do is break down this stock that I traded today. Ended up being kind of a surprise opportunity. Wasn't really expecting to have a big winner on this stock, but ended up finishing up over $8,000, which was awesome for about an hour of trading. Now, what I want to do before we play this video, and I'm going to play it and pause it and kind of walk you through what I was looking at, in each of the moments when I was adding and selling shares. This was our gap scanner this morning. All right, so TYHT was our leading gapper, gapping up 121%, 18 million share float, 3.5 million shares of volume. So I was watching this one, I was watching CLRB, I was watching ALT. I'm going to mute that scanner just for a second here. And then VXRT, which is the one that ended up being the big winner. This one was kind of a surprise. It was up 34%, 4 million share float. Not a lot of volume pre-market, but there was news on it. And today was one of those days where, because I had multiple stocks that I was watching, it can sometimes be difficult. It can sometimes be a little tricky to know which one is the right one to watch. When you've got 5 or 7 or 8 that are interesting, which is the one that's going to be, the big mover. And today I didn't quite time it perfectly on VXRT, but I was able to jump on the momentum and make some money on it. So I'm going to play this video. I'm going to mute it and kind of go back and forth, but we can kind of jump in here. So 30 seconds since the bell rang, and basically everything is looking weak. High on CLRB right now is, high a day is 75. You can see VXRT just hit this scanner right here at 29. So I think I'm going to type it in this symbol right here. CLRB was on the watch list for breakout over 4, but the bell's ringing and it's selling off. So here I type in VXRT, and I see this huge stack of sellers right here. VXRT has a lot of sellers there at 228. He's right. When he's right, he's right. So 220 by 228. Only 154,000 shares of volume. Nothing's really happening. And then there's a drop there down to 210 by 220. 203 by 220. 17-cent spread. So, red to green, yeah. I think someone in the chat room was asking about a red to green move on CLRB. CLRB is showing a bit more weakness than I'd like. ALT, one of the other ones we were watching. ALT, a weak open, not good. Now, AYTU, pretty weak open as well. So what we kind of saw across the board were a number of stocks that opened weak. The bell rang and we just didn't get that strong follow through on any of the top gappers. So, I was sort of just like, well, I don't know, what's moving? AYTU is no good. CLRB is no good. ALT is no good. TYHT is no good. AKTX here is going to pop up in just a second. This one gave a short-term opportunity, but it really didn't hold up at all. It ended up dropping down. Now, on VXRT, I pulled it back up. Here you can see AKTX popping up just a little bit, 20. Now, see, there's that seller there, but that seller disappeared. So, saw a 24,000 share seller, but it cleared out. And now I'm kind of watching both of these because I'm like, okay, VXRT did pop back up. AKTX, I pull up the chart, take a look at it. It is the first daily candle to make a new high, but risk is higher. And now, here I'm looking at this. I've typed in an order for 5,000 shares. I haven't taken the trade yet. Let's just go back and turn this back on. So we'll look at this right here. Yeah, so it's RT. You can see that popping up a bit. 32 by 38. Okay, wow. All right, so here, now it's popped up 10 cents. And what you can see on the 1 minute is that this is a small bull flag in the sense that it popped up and then pulled back for 1, 2, 3 candles. Pre-market high is 242. And the 200 moving average is at $3, $2.99, which is kind of close. This thing is starting to move. So now I'm like, okay, 233 by 240. I'm going to watch it for the first pullback. And what happens? 60? All of a sudden, we're 55 by 60. This thing just popped up 30 cents. So, these are the times where you're like, oh, man, I missed. I didn't pull the trigger. I wasn't sure. And it's better to be safe than sorry, of course. But on this one, I hesitated. I didn't pull the trigger. And now it's 55 by 59. And I'm like, okay, high is 60. I'm watching for a pullback. 54 by 55, 45. So the high there was 60. So watching. Okay, and so right here, this is the place where being aggressive, it's a good buy. Right here it's 60 because it pulled back just for a moment and then it starts to surge back up. Now again, I'm still a little bit caught off guard by the fact that it popped up so quickly. I want to see more volume coming in, but I'm going to get ready to take a position. And that's where I finally say, you know what, I'm just going to take a starter on this. My target's $3. Now, the fact that it's getting up to the 70s, I usually think about these stocks moving in half dollars and 25-cent increments. So between 2 and 2.25, and the next target's 2.50. The next target's 2.75, and then once you break 2.75, next target's $3. So I'm right away starting to think this has potential for $3. So I've got 6,000 share starter. I'll take a starter on VXRT here, long at 77. So I've got my starter at 77. It's, of course, lighting up the scanners. Boom, boom, boom. You see it hitting the scanners. So 69% gap, or 69% up on the day when I take my entry. So I am buying it high, no doubt. And my first target's 3. Now, I am aware of the risk here, which is that it could hit that 200 moving average, and that could be a problem. And so what I did right there, I put out an order to sell half. I was like, you know what, I'll take a little profit off the table. I'm a little concerned about the fact that right in this area, we're seeing a lot of buying, but the price isn't really going up. And that's making me wonder, are short sellers taking positions here, anticipating a fail of the 200, which could be certainly it's very possible. So when I get in, I expect pretty much immediate breakout. So when I'm getting in at 77, I'm expecting pretty much immediately, or within a minute of getting in, it's going to be at $3. And the fact that right now, I know I'm in it high, and I'm only up 3 cents on the bid, I'm starting to feel that the risk is maybe not on my side. Right? So now I actually sold some of it on the bid. I was like, I'm in too high. I don't know. I'm not sure about this. So I'm trying to ease out of the position. And just for a second there, if we look back, it looked like 70, 77, 75. So you could see 58 isn't far away, 258. And sometimes this is the case where it's like, this was the right entry. I end up getting in up here and then, kind of just not timing it right. And then all of a sudden, just like that, a surge of volume comes in, lights up the time and sales, and we're at 85 by 86, high a day. And 87, 88. And look at that, 95. I mean, this thing is kind of funny. It just all of a sudden is like 95, $3. So I'm putting out some orders to take some profit. And in this first trade, I'm only up $340. I just kind of, I got in a little too high. I thought, we kind of had a micro pullback at 60, but I bought it at 77. pulled back a little bit right here, but by that time I already felt kind of like I was in too high. So I'm kind of like not trading this super well here. So I've got my 600 shares. I'm still holding at 77. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm interested in seeing what happens with the stock. What is it going to do? Is it going to keep going? And here now, volume's coming back in. 95 by 302, 304, 312, 309, 310, right? This thing's moving. 314, 18, 318, 315, 311, 310. It's up 90% on the day. Back to $3, 305, 303. So now we're starting to get what to me looks like a more clear pullback on the 1 minute. And so now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to move the stock up to this top window here. This is the window I usually like to trade in. It's right next to my P&L, so I can see it very clearly. So now I'm watching this to get in for the break here, watching. You know, I don't know why I hesitated on that. Maybe because, oh man, look at this. I get FOMO even just watching it because for some reason I should have been buying that dip. I don't know why I didn't. I think you know what I think the reason is. Let's just play the audio. So that's a micro pullback there, but it didn't pull back quite long enough for me to feel comfortable pulling the trigger. So I'm just still holding. Okay. So and that makes sense. He's right. There's the pullback here, but when we look at it now, it's just the fourth green candle in a row. It didn't actually form a red candle and then give us that pullback, 1 minute pullback. It just kind of pulled back and then kept going. Of course, in this case, it would have worked. It's a more aggressive entry, and it would have worked. But given the fact that I was only up $300, I was hesitating. And here I am. Also, let's not forget, still holding 600 shares from 277, up another $300. I mean, this is working my way up to my daily $1,000 minimum goal pretty quickly. Waiting for a good pullback opportunity. So waiting for a pullback opportunity, that's always the safest thing. Is 344. Over 344 could be a scalp. So I'll add there. I'm starting to think on this we've got a chance of hitting $4. Right. So I'm going to add again 375. $0.50. And next spot is 375, right? Because that's the way these stocks move. They go in $0.50, whole dollars, 25-cent increments. So I'm thinking, all right, obviously I'm buying this high as I did on the first time, but I'm adding as it's continuing to show strength. Now, when I took my very first trade way back here at 277, at that moment, of course, didn't know any of this was going to happen. At that moment, it squeezed up, and then it started to show a little bit of resistance in the 82 area, right? It kind of just was tapping its head there. There was buying, but it wasn't breaking. I knew we were right underneath the critical moving average, the 200, and I thought that maybe I was being a little too aggressive. It pulled back. It then ripped back up, continued higher. We had the micro pullback at 320, which I also hesitated on. It is what it is. And then here it is up here going higher. So as it broke over the $0.50, this was an entry for the break of the $0.50. So boom, I'm in at 40 and 42 and adding at 79. And then the thing here is you might say, well, Ross, why would you add and then literally sell, at 80, like 1 penny higher? The thing is, I am not even necessarily looking at the price. I'm just like, I'm almost pressing the buttons out of habit before I even really know what the prices are. I'm seeing that the stock is squeezing higher. I also recognize that for a second there, I was just in with like a 9,000 share position at 48 or whatever my average cost was. And it's a good idea to start to reduce some risk a little bit. There's 6,000 shares. All right, so let's just go back here to this for 1 second. So again, we know $0.50 are important. And this is another thing that started to give me a little confidence, seeing a big bid. A 16,000 share bid, that tells me someone's trying to buy this or cover a short position. Maybe someone who tried to short at $3 and is now getting squeezed. All right, so boom, So I'm like, all right, forget it. I'm gonna go ahead and take a stab. So 2 orders, boom, boom, 41. I believe this was shift one, 40 and 41. There's the break over the $0.50. And, I am thinking if it breaks over 75, $4 is realistic. There's 75. So I went ahead and added right there at 78. But a little bit, kind of just like a little moment of, well, maybe I'm in this too high. Look at this. I'm in with 9,000 shares now. I'm just like that, I'm at $3,000. Right? It's like crazy how fast it can happen. So now I'm like, honestly, don't know why I don't know what kind of order that was, because there's really no reason that should be at 80. That should be at 85. I'm trying to sell at the ask, I'm pretty sure. I must have pressed it. I pressed it right there, and then it pops up. So whatever. I sell half, take a little profit off the table. There we go. And let's see. Is this going to go to $4? Again, watching these, I can tell you that hindsight becomes so obvious. It's like, geez, you should have held the whole thing. Blah, 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 blah. But for every time you do that, you're going to have another stock like, an AKTX. Let's just look at this one for a second. That, is going to pop up and do this. And hey, yesterday, I tried to take a pretty big position on this stock, PHAS. Right out of the gates, it did something pretty similar. It wasn't a perfect daily chart or a perfect chart, but it started to rip up here, squeezes up to 9. I'm adding into the breakout. Next thing you know, the thing's back at $6.40. If I'd held that position, I would have been down, 20 grand. So you got to just follow the set of rules. And sometimes you're going to have trades that work out really well, and you're going to think, man, I should have held the whole thing. But you're going to have enough where it saves you, and you're going to be glad that you took profit. All right, so I'm still in this at 48. Now watching this, what I'm really hoping is that we can get an opportunity for another pullback to reestablish a low risk entry, and then take a good sized position, possibly for a move into a circuit breaker halt. But what often happens with these is they just are irrationally strong. This is about to get halted. See that distinctive look? About to get halted. And then it keeps trading. And the halt level has moved up to 441. So the average price needs to be 20% in the first 15 minutes of the day on this price range. So the halt level has moved up. So now, most likely, we'll get a little bit of a dip, flash down there to the 380s. I'm still holding 1,100 shares at 348. And now that doji there is going to be high of day for quite a while. I am going to take a dip opportunity here, which we're going to watch in 1 second. We now have 1.4 million shares of volume. And in hindsight, this maybe was a risky place to be a buyer, given the fact that the stock had just done this kind of, look at this doji candle. This is a very tall upper wick. That's a candle of indecision. We're down 50 cents off the highs. But I went ahead and I'm going to take a trade here looking for the break back over $4. Boom, just like that. I'm in with 9,000 shares, up 10,000 full position at 80. $13,000 share seller. Okay, so we need that to move. This is not yet a 1 minute pullback until the first candle makes a new high. So I'm wanting to see it break over $4. I put out a sell order to start to reduce a little bit of risk, realizing that maybe I am in this too high and the 1 minute chart is not as clean as I thought it would be. So, kind of like moment of truth here. 80 on the bid, 88 on the ask. Wanting to see it get back over 4, 70, 66. Just like that, I'm down $1,900. But I do still have confidence in the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. I do not want to see it break below 350. That would not be good. So still looking for that pop over 4. And there we go. I added, and then look at that. I mean, that's how it's done. So let's pull this back here. So I've got 9,000 shares right here through the pullback. I got in a little early. And then I go ahead and add another 3,000 shares there. So now I've got 12,000 shares at 379. Looking for the break over 4. This certainly here is, testing me. Stop is 350 at the $0.50, so I'm got closer to that stop than I would have liked to have. We're going to come back up. That seller is still there, but is getting bought up. We break the level, and we're at 407 by 410. I put out an order at 409, 1 cent below the ask, to sell half. My orders fill just like very quickly on that one, and I sell a little bit more at 403 and 401. Acknowledging at this point that this tested me a little too much. The best trades work right away. The worst ones, fail right away, and this one just kind of failed and then started to kind of work, but not well. $387, $390. Looking at the bid price here. For the most part, my eye is watching the ask price and the time in sales. I'm seeing a lot of selling here. Routing my orders through bats, which seems to give me pretty good fills. Keeping myself with 377 shares after a 12,000 share position, you might be like, what's even the point? But it keeps me focused and staring at the stock. I'm still in it. Even just with a little bit, I'm still in it. I put an order at 415. Watching in this area for a possible scalp, wondering if it'll break over 415. $390, $397. So right now we're kind of bouncing in this area right here. You can tell that over 315 is a breakout spot, but we don't know if it's going to give us that big move. Still have my hand on the buy button here at 415. Just added there. Added for the break over 4. So just like that, I'm back in this with 9,000 shares. On that one, I expected an immediate break. I thought it was going to break 4 and go right to 410. So on this one, I'm like, oh, I might be. 4 on this is a break over 4, break of 410. 20,000 share bid right there, but we also just saw a 10,000 share seller. And no, we're not really getting it. So unwinding the position. Get back $600 on that. I'm going to keep watching this. I'm ready to get back in. I just got to kind of just time it right. Keep my stops as tight as I can. So orders at 420, 415. Breakout or bailout. So I'll make another $3,000 on this stock before I'm done trading it. And right now, it's all about keeping the losses as small as possible so I can afford to get back in. So boom, just like that, I'm back in at 4. I'm really looking for that break over 410. Once we break 410, we should see a break of 415, and then we're going back potentially to high a day. 140% up on the day. There's 4. So, you know, this could be my second loss in a row if it doesn't work out. Although on the 5 minute, on the 1 minute chart, it still looks good. You know, we're still consolidating here. I mean, really, where I stopped out, ended up getting right back in. So, but you know, it still looks fine. When you have a nice big trade, it definitely gives you a little bit more of a cushion. There we go. So taking some profit through that move because it's kind of struggling at that 410 spot. See how I keep putting orders? I have to cancel and put out new ones because I want to sell on the ask. I want to get the best price. But if my orders don't fill right away, I cancel it and place a new one, cancel it and place a new one. So there we go, 6,200 bucks. Now it's, you know, it's tempting here because it's like, really, like, is it gonna break that spot? But it's just not quite happening. And then back down it goes. So let's see, where's the next trade I take on this? So this is an interesting one. So what happened here, this sells off kind of right in this area. I'm just like flipping through a couple other stocks. It sells off, and what it does is it bounces off the volume weighted average price, the VWAP on the day. And you'll see right here, it comes down almost to the penny to 363. Now the 1 minute isn't totally clear what it's bouncing off of, but you see it as the VWAP right there. I have it on just on my 5 minute chart. First 1 minute candle to make a new high was over 389, and watch this. So there's 410, there's 415, 420, 427, 429. Now we're opening up again, getting ready to go to all-time high, or to high a day. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the first pullback after this fresh 5 minute breakout. I move my order there up to 450. So the high was 430, so I'm watching. So let me pop this on here. Watching the time and sales. This is our 1 minute micro pullback. Got the high there at 430. Watch the pullback after this kind of fresh breakout. Over green. 430. There's green on the time and sales. Would be a possible scalp. Watching here. I got a starter. Boom. 425. Got my starter. Target, definitely breaking over high a day in the half dollar. Moving an order 435 to add. Trying to do the first 1 minute micro pullback after the fresh 5 minute breakout. So there we go. There's 30. There's 40. That's what we wanted to see. So, I mean, that was nice. We popped up there. You know, that made a pretty big move. Let's go back and look at it. 425. I'm trying to do the first 1 minute micro pullback after the fresh 5 minute breakout. So there we go. So we go right to 39. 30. There's 40. Right to 55 or 50. 40. That's what we want. I take a little profit at 40. I want to see. I guess I took a little bit of profit at 45, 40, 40. So taking some profit out. Now I'm up $7,100. There we go. There's 60. Nice. 67 by 65. 6 million shares of volume. 179% gain on the day. High is now 70. So high of 70, so over 70 is a possible add. I'm going to add here at 65. Target's $5. Now I'm thinking more potential. I'm thinking $5. I see the circuit breaker halt there. The level at 490. That's limit up, limit down. I'm starting to think this has the potential going to 5. Now, as you can see here, once again, now this is starting to open up a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive. I'll add over 85. Looking for the break of 85, so I can add for that test of $5. So this is one of those things where oftentimes when we get close to, the closer we get to a $0.50 or a whole dollar, the more we kind of get that. It's like a draw to that level. It's like a magnet. So I sometimes like to buy as we get closer to that level, like 85, 88, 90, just because we see that kind of final push and squeeze over that, in this case $5 level. On this
There's
stock,
a good chance that we'll see that.
the high is going to be the high is going to be exactly 5. So in this case, because we had that kind of moment of pullback right here, we pulled back, and I'm like, maybe I'm being a little too aggressive, so I start to take a little profit. So let's see, now I'm up 7,800. We kind of struggled a little bit there at 85, 75. You see a lot of churn happening here. Buying and selling, red and green, red and green. So now we're going to watch this 1 minute pullback. So let's watch this pullback here. I'll see where my next trade is. Oops, there it is. Let's see, what did I do on this one? Wow, 9,000 shares, okay. So yeah, okay, so what I did on this was the 1 minute micro pullback. First 1 minute candle to make a new high. Watching. What I'm expecting is that first 1 minute candle make a new high is going to go straight to 85. So boom, boom. I see that green on the time and sales. I know that's the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. I'm in. There's 80. I'm going to add here, thinking that we're going to break over 85. Just added 10,000 share seller at 78. That's not what I like to see. Now I've got 9,000 shares at 72. Really want to see that break over 85. 78. 78, there we go. Okay. All right, 81. I'm starting to take a little profit because I'm like, you know what? I'm only up 10 cents. I've got too much size. It's struggling here. Ended up hitting the bid because I was a little nervous. So I hit the bid, 75. So up 8,000 bucks now. End up selling the rest of that. Let's see where I get back in. Watching a couple other stocks. It's only about 10 a.m. at this point. So now we've got a 5 minute setup right here. All right. So you see this 5 minute setup. So first 5 minute candle to make a new high is right here. High of day is 85. So boom, boom, I jump in for the break of 85. High of day. Look at that. Boom. Straight to 5. That's exactly what we like to see. However, what I don't like is that at 5, there was a big seller. So let's watch this. Look at that. A 90,000 share buyer at 470. Someone is trading with some huge size. Up to 5. But a seller at 5 doesn't break that level. I take some profit in the 90s. So that was a scalp for a break over high a day. Now, often we'll test that level, we'll pull back, and if it surges back up, that's where I might get back in. Right now I'm just watching. Just selling a little bit more. $90 by 93. it's just too much resistance here. It's not happening. Percent here today. So I'm back in this, going for another try. It's not happening. Again, we're just hitting our head on that level. So, at this point, it's going to get me up just over 9,000 on the day, which is going to be my all-time high of day. Nice accumulation here. But then it fails again. 11 million shares of volume. It's just not breaking that level. So I'm up $9,000 here. And my final trade, I get back in at 94, as you can see right there. Trying to get that break over 5, but I'm going to have to stop out of it. And boom, that's going to be where I finish the day. $8,633.61. So this was, a good exercise in scalping. It's a stock where I missed the first really good pullback, or the first, really good setup at 230, but I bought as it was moving higher. Buy high, sell higher. You got to keep your stops tight. I had a total of, I think, 3 losses on the stock and a bunch of winners. So, that's good. The accuracy is good. I hope this annotated or kind of in-depth review of this trade has helped and you found it interesting. Watch it, replay it. For me, the big thing is watching the level 2. The level 2 right here, the time and sales, glancing at the chart, asking myself, what was the high last candle? What's the correct setup? But it's really, for the most part, watching, the chart is my basis for the price that I might want to get in at. And then I'm watching the level 2 and the time and sales to see how the stock is behaving as we get close to that price. All right, so again, enjoy, and I will see you guys in class.